Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Two Angles on Angling. This is Jordan with my co-host.
It's Ryan, guys. What's up?
All right, so it's been an interesting week, weather-wise, certainly, and some of the encounters as well that I have had in nature. So I have not had a lot of time on the water, sadly, this week. Weather dictating that as well, a bit of it. So I'll just go over my weekly recap real quick. Yesterday, I spent some time at Art Park, and then also again today. Today, I gotta go over this cool encounter first. I was talking to Ryan about it before the podcast, and I'll have a picture up on my Instagram as well. I was sitting on this one rock, just staring down over the water, and I saw this fish flash, and I was like, "Huh, okay, that was interesting." I thought it was a lake trout or something. I didn't really get a good look at it, and then it disappeared for a bit, and then I, kept fiddling around. I was on the phone with my buddy, just walking around. Then I was like, "All right, I'm going to look back in a few minutes, see what's up." All right, I look back, the fish pops back up, and I'm like, "Oh wow, okay, that is not a lake trout at all." I'm like, so I'm like, is that a muskie at first? And then I really honed in on it. And I'm like, oh, that is a freaking sturgeon. I'm like, no way. 6 foot easily. Like the freak. It was crazy, dude. Like it was so cool seeing it like so in such shallow water. Like it was doing its like rounds. It was like coming up in the shallow, dropping off behind this big rock, going, and then it would come up and go. It just kept doing like this flow there. Uh, yeah, super cool. And I almost didn't go to Art Park today. I almost went somewhere else. So very glad I ended up trusting that instinct and going there and seeing that. Uh,
That's a dinosaur, man.
yeah,
6 foot,
yeah.
like,
Oh, no doubt. There
no,
was no doubt about it. Like it was.
the
Yeah,
beast.
dude. I don't know if I had to guess, the freaking head on it was at least as wide as
Yeah, that
that.
was like
Like,
that one that we boated back in March on
yeah,
the upper, like that
uh,
that caliber of fish.
yeah,
Like that's a giant, dude.
yeah. Oh, no doubt.
They got to be spawning right now, like because I know they do that. They nudge up against the shoreline, and it's usually like these massive females, and there'll be a couple males, and they're just nudging her to release her eggs. Um, it's definitely a nursery up there. I mean, it'd be. I wonder if there's a report out there that might be. If somebody knows this, share it in the comments about a recent study on the lake sturgeon population of the Lower
Mm.
Niagara, because last year around this time,
Excuse me.
like the 20s of May, there was a U.S. Fish and Wildlife boat down there that ran trot lines and caught a bunch of sturgeon, like some giants too, and they're to tag them.
Yeah.
And like I rolled up on them, and they had a 6 footer in the boat, and or they were tagging a 6 footer, and they had a 5 footer in like a live well type of containment
Wow.
situation. They're like reviving it or something before they were going to let it go. Um, but I'd like to know what that study uh, ended up
Yeah,
finding.
for sure.
Because it would be super cool to target them, dude.
Yeah.
Not even to keep them, just to do
Dude,
battle with them. Like,
I know that was the first thing I thought when I looked at that thing. Is I was like, that's native, and that thing would give you the one hell of a
I
fight.
know.
One
I mean,
hell
dude,
of a
they're a
fight.
target species in the Pacific Northwest. Like, there's
Yeah,
giants, like 10
yeah,
footers up
yeah.
there.
I've seen the
Like
videos
that's
and
definitely a bucket list fish of mine. Like that, and like as
yeah.
far as size, that's like bigger than an arapaima. Like
Yeah,
I mean, that's a giant. It's just a
yeah,
true
it is.
giant.
It
Period.
is. No doubt
Like
about that.
there's just very few other than like sharks
Yeah,
in the biggest marlin.
yeah, for sure.
Um, yeah, wild stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. I was saying I was at Art Park the other day as well. So we're recording on Sunday, by the way. Everyone normal schedule around 4:30 or so. Uh, Overcast, cloudy kind of day.
Windy
Windy. Just the
west.
rain's holding off, so that's a
Yeah,
bonus at
yeah.
least. But uh, yesterday got some, and in between, well, the little bit of rainfall and everything. We had a nice clear section, and I was out at Art Park, and I was like, oh wow, I'm hearing a lot of birds right now. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna start recording as I'm just walking along here, and I recorded the rose-breasted grosbeak, and then I turned around, and I texted you this. As soon as
Yeah.
I turned around, like it was the first thing I saw was that bird, and I was like, "Oh, sweet, no doubt, okay." Last year, I saw the first time I saw it was at Buckhorn. So this, I think I might have seen one again at Art Park this fall at
Yeah,
some
like
point, but
they're totally
yeah,
away from people. Like
it's
that,
a yeah.
they're definitely in thick woods. You know.
So from there, I was very inspired and prompted. I believe I sent you this, but I'll show you again before I show the camera. I was prompted to. Hopefully, this is in frame and everyone can see it. But I was prompted to draw that bird that I saw, and it's just adding up on the species list of different ones that I've drawn,
Right.
and they're just man. The more same with the fish and everything. The more I'm learning about them and studying them and doing drawings and renditions of them, the more I'm just like, wow, this is
Yeah.
the immense detail and just like your appreciation for them. Like I'm sure as as you started recording the birds and everything, your appreciation for like their songs has probably grown a lot
Oh
because
yeah.
you can just listen and pick up on ones. And last year, I remember I said, I was like, I can probably name off like a handful of birds that I can hear, and you were like, no, dude, you have a lot more, a lot more than you think. And this year, like that's proving true. I'm walking and I'm like, okay, gray catbird. I'm like, okay, walking along. I'm like, all right, blue jay, cardinal, all right, oriole, got it, all right, and then just plucking along, all right.
Yeah.
The woodpeckers, I'm not completely familiar. Like I'm not like dead set on woodpeckers.
I have like three. We have like hairy woodpeckers, downy woodpeckers, and red belly woodpeckers all here, like in my backyard.
Yeah,
So I hear those all the time. But to your point, man, like now you're what you really notice are the anomalies. You know, a sound that you haven't heard.
yeah,
You know, like now I'll record when I'm sitting in my backyard just to see how many will pop up in a night. Um, it still doesn't seem peak yet to me. There's a few creatures that did you
yeah.
pick up any red-eyed vireos in there?
No,
Yeah, they haven't
I did
shown up
not.
yet. But like, I mean, so I was thinking about this earlier when I was driving around. If you were just driving down the road right now, how would you know what season it is? And you can't say leaves are on the trees because there's leaves on the trees now, which is the spring, all the way through summer. So, like, what distinguishing factor would you see other than leaves on the trees to let you know that this is when it is? Like, this is the time of year that it is.
Hmm. Well, the first thing I know you said C, but the first thing I was thinking is like temperature, like just feeling what the temperature is outside. But so driving down the
Yeah, but that
road,
could be September here.
yeah, true. Hmm.
So,
I mean, the bird population, I suppose, to an extent. But if
yeah,
you're driving in your car, how much are you?
yeah. But not even that. But yeah, so birds for sure and fish. But I'm talking, yeah, I mean, I'm talking about just any random Joe. When I came, the thing that I came to the conclusion was is like all things reproductive um, for like getting things going because there's massive amounts of pollen around
Yeah,
right now.
good
Like, and
point.
especially the last 2 days, we've had insane amounts of wind. Like, if you find still water anywhere, there's a yellow film on it.
The
Like the
helicopters falling from the
yeah,
maple trees.
like they're in all the backyards if you
Yeah,
have maples near you.
yep,
You know, so
good point.
that's
The eggshells, if you're walking around your neighborhood at all,
yeah.
like from the birds' nests and stuff on occasion, whatever squirrels getting at them, all the different
So
possibilities.
for your project, that's something to think through for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Um,
I've got to take some a note on that
but
actually. Yeah,
All right,
All
I
right. Well,
digress. What else did you have, bro?
um. Oh yes, yes, yes. This was a pretty cool experience. So Saturday morning, I I I had some things going on throughout the day, but I was like, all right, I'm gonna go shore fishing, bounce around a little bit while I can. So I got out early in the morning. I think it was the first cast. Yeah, I think it was. So first cast, felt bottom, and I was like, sweet. Start reeling the swim bait back. It got annihilated. Fought the smallmouth, got it all the way up, and then just botched the net, and there he went. So I was like, okay, well, something's biting. Fish for a little bit. I was like, all right,
Interesting.
yeah. I was like, I gotta get going. So I left, and then I came back a few hours later.
Oh, hold on, hold on.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about this for a second. The place that is there's no need to divulge where you were fishing. Um, but I know, I mean, I know where it is, so we
Mm-hmm.
can be vague about it if we want to. But have you ever fished that this time of year from your boat?
Now I have, yes.
And has it produced? Because it seems like every
Not
time,
with the wind that day, but I feel like had I had a better wind.
you've shore fished in this spot, you've caught fish, and I think it's interesting that you are. It makes sense that it makes sense that they would be there, but like that area just I don't know. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Um,
I got to remind myself to check it
yeah.
out.
So I go back and I'm like, I know, I understand like the bottom feel now and like what I need to like have a good presentation. I have not shore fished in years, and like it like this consistently at least in
It's
years.
all about the weight.
It is, and like it's just
I mean,
like
it's always all
everything.
about the
It's
weight.
like everything. It's the presentation is everything, and for fishing a tiny stream, it's way different than fishing. The Niagara River from shore is different from fishing a pond, from fishing from a boat. So, having been out so much, I've been really dialing it in, and it feels great. And so, feel bottom, all right, and then a few seconds later, fish bites, and I'm like, oh, sweet, all right. And I'm thinking it's a smallmouth right off the bat because naturally that's what I've been catching, and so I'm fighting it, and it's getting up in the shallows, and I'm like, no way. So I net it, and I know I get this screwed up every time. A silver bass, white bass,
White bass.
white bass, white bass, white bass. Okay,
Really?
yeah. It was a hardy one as well, dude. Great colors on it. Yeah, the photo is going to be up on my blog. It was super cool. Only fish I ended up catching the one of the rain storms came through, so I bounced out for a little bit, came back, and then the wind was just ripping so crazy that I made, I don't know, a dozen casts and might have felt bottom once. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I can't. There's no point. It's just as soon as I cast, the wind took my line like another couple feet out and just ruined the drifts. But yeah, that's my time on the water this week. Uh, Caught a different species, which is cool. Something unique. Saw the sturgeon, which was awesome as well. Some cool bird encounters. No bald eagles this week. Uh, Not really many bird encounters, I guess, at all. But we did have a lot of wind and the
Yeah.
rainstorm and just all of that. So it's it stirs things up. So,
Yeah.
anyways, but yeah. So Ryan, what was your week
You know,
looking like?
so I remember saying last week that I was going to take my anniversary off. So that was going to be my first break in like over 20 days or whatever. But then my wife says that she's working a lunch shift. And I'm like, well, my daughter spent the night out. I'm like, well, what am I going to do? Like, I might as well fish. There was this
Uh,
one spot that I wanted to do some recon work on. So I did with my buddy Mike. So yeah, I mean, dude, I'm on like 28 straight days.
wow.
It's yeah, it's been wild. I mean, this last week was definitely harsh, especially the past 2 days. But now it's cold again. But
Yeah.
there was times where like I mean, we experienced all of the weather this week.
Yeah, we did.
We had the beginning of the week was dead calm and ridiculously hot. and then uh, we had like east winds for a little bit, and when those east winds kicked in, that was on a Wednesday. Then things started happening,
Yeah.
and and it took a while. Like, but once those east like really started white capping, um, we ended up like just with ridiculous fish. And if you can see that one in the background, I mean, I don't. It was definitely over 6.5 pounds. I don't spend much time, like I'll put a boga to a fish that I think is like really big, and that one, was like 6 3/4. It was a giant, but then the rest of the day, like her and her spouse proceeded to catch ridiculous numbers of giants, and then that action, uh, I didn't fish Thursday, which was my anniversary, except for this one little area. Like I didn't take clients out, and it was dead calm that day. So beginning of the week, still hot, dead calm, and action was mediocre at best. And as soon as the weather started transitioning, a little bit of rain, hard easts, then things got a little bit chaotic. It died for a day, and then Friday it was like pretty damn calm in the morning, and we were like barely moving. But then as soon as the wind kicked up, which it did, like, and it got pretty big out there, it was crazy. It was one of the near, like, it definitely top five outings for size and quantity that I've
Wow.
experienced. Just
That's awesome.
just over and over and over again, and it was like through a washing machine. I mean, like we were just getting smashed by waves, and pushed real fast, and it didn't matter. Those fish were just in a total fucking frenzy down there. So that was awesome. And then we followed that up with fishing the lower. That sucked. It was horrible down there. The bar, like some fish were caught in the bar like really fast in the morning, and then that completely died.
Mm.
Um, I missed that window, but the river sucks. So then we had a huge southwest yesterday. Like it was gusting over 30. And I put the boat in on the upper and just tucked away in little pockets out of the wind. And we caught fish in these little pockets. So it kind of saved the day. And we got some really nice ones too, surprisingly, for where we were. There's like this one area that I fish only when there's a huge southwest or a west, because it just pushes you through a generally currentless area. And that's sick. Like if you can get through there, it's just this little niche area, and then all of a sudden you pull a tank out of there, and you're like, "Wow, where'd that come from?" So anyway, there's that. And then today we tried to go out. We went out for like a little bit in the harbor, but it was huge. I mean, the wind stayed huge all night. It was gusting in the 20s out of the west, like, or not, like 25 probably plus, sustained in the upper teens. It was just huge. Waves are crashing over the walls, and there was just a ton of mud getting pushed into the harbor. So it was just chocolate milk in there for the most part. There's one little nook over on the northern end of the harbor by Donnelly's Wall that had like clearer lake water, like stuff that was coming off of the Canadian shoreline. Um, that was fishable, but I just didn't want to stay in 50 yards of water
Yeah.
for, more than an hour,
Hmm.
so we just decided to call it. And here we are.
Here we are.
So I didn't, of note, like I didn't fish Ontario at all. I can't really tell you, like I've checked in with my couple of my colleagues that have been fishing out there earlier in the week. And it was mainly a coho bite with sporadic kings. I don't know how true that is still, but this upcoming week's forecast is going to shuffle the deck again. Like we have big, like northwests coming in right now. Temperatures are dropping by like 20 degrees compared to what we've had lately. Um, it's going to rain pretty big midweek. lots of east winds. So whatever's going on in Lake Ontario is going to change again. On the Erie side, as far as the bass in general, um, for one, I haven't targeted walleyes except for one day, that recon trip, and we caught them. But that's like a super niche situation. It's not something
Mm-hmm.
that I could totally rely on. But I'm gonna start doing walleye stuff here soon, like specifically walleye stuff. Um, but yeah, I saw some like in the harbor one day when I was putting my boat in. There were four fish and one giant female. Like she was like an easy six, like just a freaking tank, and four like really nice males just hanging out in the boat launch, like hanging out where you back your trailer into it in real shallow with no fear. And I'm like, man, they're they're getting ready to make beds, man. And that's the water was super clear because
Bless
we
you.
had so much because we had so much stability, man. That's the pollen, man. That's
Yeah,
the pollen.
that
But
time of
it
year.
was super clear, like super clear. I think that was Tuesday. No, Wednesday. No, it was Tuesday. It was super clear. But either way, those I saw those fish. I launched from there today, and I didn't see any beds anywhere. So I don't know what they were doing, but they were getting ready to do something.
Yeah,
Like as far as
investigating.
breeding goes, yeah, they're definitely looking around.
Yeah.
Now I don't know what this cold is going to do, if it'll kind of put it off. That would be sweet if it did.
Yeah.
Um, but
Elongate the stretch.
because they're definitely like they're grouping up on Erie, and that's the challenge is that you just have to find where the group is, and
Mm.
sometimes that takes a long time. Like but when you find them, um, you know, it's especially if there's some wind to push you around and just keep the surface just a little bit choppy.
Yeah.
You when you find them, you're going to do good, but you just have to endure some shit, in order to get after them and do that. They'll eventually get established in places, and when that happens, that's when it's the easiest. But now it's more of a searching game. But the thing is now they're not on beds. When they're fully established in an area, what I'm really saying is that they're like on beds at that point. And if you're combing an area, you're going to catch bedding fish. Now, where most of these areas get combed is out in the sand, and arguably there's no goby threat there. But I would say once those beds start happening, like it's time to move on to walleye fishing. I mean, that's my take on things. And they're definitely not there yet. I think there's some fish that are like maybe a handful that are bedded up, but it's not pervasive. And what I'm just super curious to see is it's about to get cold. Will that kind of stall
Mm.
behavior and like that breeding, or are they already far gone? Like there's mayfly hatch or like bug hatches that happen on this river when the water temperature gets to a certain level, right? But when the water if it cools off rapidly, like a couple of degrees, the hatch doesn't stop. Like it just keeps going. Like something triggers them. I don't know if it's temperature, time of year. I mean, those two things are totally correlated. At least up here they are. So, but anyway, so I'm booked every day this upcoming week too.
So
Um, and I'll probably spend almost all of it on Erie or the upper. I'm gonna dabble in the lower briefly tomorrow, but as we have norths, so I'm just gonna check out a couple places and then make a move to the upper and just put in work up there, see what we find. And
awesome.
I'm confident we're gonna make some stuff happen. Then later on in the week, I'll be very much Erie focused, and then hoping to target walleyes at least one of those days, jigging. Um, and we'll see where it goes from there, man.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. Um, I am off Friday, so I will be getting out. Not entirely sure where, Erie or the Upper. Gonna probably short fish a handful of times in between there. Hopefully, get a hike in as well, and then this weekend heading down to the Delaware. We're doing a ceremony for my stepfather down there, and while I'm near the Delaware, I'm going to try and fish if I can. So I haven't looked at the gauges. I heard that things were very, very high recently, so things are going to be pretty. Who knows? Who knows how it's going to settle out and what rain they're going to get this week and everything. So hopefully something settles down to be fishable, and if not, oh well. But gonna try while I'm there at least. So that's what I got going ahead.
Streamer
And,
game.
yeah,
Yeah.
dial it in.
Or if you can cast stick baits, as long as there's some level of visibility.
Yeah, good point.
Like fish will definitely. That's
Yeah,
like super oxygenated water.
yeah,
There's all kinds of nutrients coming
good
downstream.
point.
Like if there's some level of visibility, they'll be keyed up.
Yeah,
It's worth a shot.
sure is.
So
Always is. All right. Well, I don't know, man. I don't got anything deep to get.
yeah,
It's that kind of time of year. It's
yeah.
getting warmer out. Schedules are getting
The
busier. We're
brain the
bouncing
brain is
around a
fried.
lot.
I'm
Yeah,
happy to talk about
yeah,
fishing for at least give people the rundown of
yeah,
what I'm seeing out there.
yeah.
But we'll keep them
Well,
brief and to the point for the near term.
yeah,
We get real crazy and start talking a lot when we get into the winter time.
yeah, for sure. A few other things to touch upon real quick. So, we just wanted to mention this. So, currently, the podcast for last week was not it wouldn't go up on, so it wasn't available on Apple or Spotify or anything. So, we're trying to figure that out. So, anyone who listens to the YouTube, if you have friends who or watch the YouTube rather, if you have friends who listen to it on Spotify or Apple, just let them know. We're working on it, but try to get them over onto this platform as well. So there's that. And then the last little section, we're going to go over some of the JD Outdoors jigs that we've got um, available. So this one, oh, well, we'll go one at a time. This one, the 1/4 ounce black marabou, little gold flash on there, red
Timeless.
collar. You can't beat that. Upper Erie, when they're shallow, Thousand Islands, I use this a lot. Slow roll it. You can bounce it along bottom, fish it like a Ned rig. It's just heavy producer, especially as it gets hotter out. So that one is available. That one, I believe, is up on the website, or if not, shoot me a message after the podcast if you're interested. 3/8 or a 1/4 ounce on that. Then we got a 3/8 just standard white bucktail with some flash and the red thread on there. Ryan, I know we've had many a good day on this on
Yes, we
this on
have.
this, and you always have them in the boat. So that one's available. And then also, I found this one in the box today. So last week I was saying how the that woolly bugger Ned caught the red horse. So I thought I tied up a green one, and I really thought that I lost it while I was fishing. And then I opened up the box, and I was like, oh, so I do got one. So uh, the woolly bugger Ned got that one there in the green, the olive, some flash, some red thread, little copper wire. So this one is 316 sounds, 316. So uh, really nice, fishing shallow. Yet again, swim it, bounce it, whatever, however you can present it in a nice natural way, they will eat it, and we know that from experience. So these are all available. Message me on the website or Instagram, or leave a comment, whatever you guys want to do if you want to pick them up. So that's all we got for you this week. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, tight lines, and we'll catch you later.
See you.